الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We're running slightly late, which probably doesn't come as a surprise because people are coming together. So my job is just basically to set out the agenda for today and just some housekeeping. The toilets are downstairs, and we also have a tight timetable, and we've got to make sure that we've got to get through the business for tonight as quickly as possible. So could you please ensure that when we come to the time for Salah, that you are in a fit condition to be able to perform that, i.e. that you are have wudu, and if you have to make that beforehand, then if you could do so, as I said, facilities that are provided, and do so in a discreet manner if people are speaking. So we want to finish, inshallah, tonight by about 11 o'clock, and the very kind of broad agenda for today is that we will have a number of speeches, talks, discussions leading up to the adhan for Maghrib Salah, and the prayer facilities are that women are upstairs and men are downstairs, and as you know, that will probably that's about at 7:45. So we've got a number of things to get through till then, and then after that we'll have dinner which will be served, we'll have a live link up, and then we will have an auction. There are certain various items that we want to kind of present to you, and we will have an auction, and then we will have Taraweeh here at about 10:05. So we would invite you to remain and participate in that. So it is as I say, quite a heavy schedule to get through, and it's important that we cooperate as much as possible. Now, I know some of you may have paid, you know, £50, £25 or whatever, and you're wondering, well, how come? Well, you know, in the end of the day, we are in the blessed month of Ramadan, and what you are contributing toward is sadaqah. It's not a business transaction. You're buying dinner for a certain price and you feel, I've been outdone by because the person next to me paid less. We hope that you appreciate that this is a fundraising for caged prisoners and the issues that caged prisoners is engaged in. Also, I begin by asking for apologies. We organised, the catering has been organised, and the facilities here have been provided by the town hall. We don't have control of the staff, so that if you have issues, with being served by people of either sex who are not appropriately attired, then I apologise, but it's something that we didn't have any control over. So I hope you will forgive us and understand that we've tried to do our best to create an appropriate Islamic environment with as minimal free mixing, but we couldn't arrange everything. So if we've made mistakes, forgive us. So, who are caged prisoners? I think basically the story begins with Guantanamo, which obviously many people are familiar with, and the fact that there were Muslims who were engaged in relief work who were caught up in the aftermath of what was the 9/11 and the war on terror, and individuals were picked up and taken, no one knew where, and very little was known. And in fact, the truth is, were abandoned not only by the kind of international legal community, but also by those who ought to have supported them, abandoned by the Muslims. And they were depicted as being people who were monsters, who were terrorists, who were the most vicious, evil people you could imagine. And this was the story that was told and the image that was portrayed. And cage prisoners sprang out of that injustice, because it was an injustice. And the purpose to begin with was to humanize the individuals, to show the true reasons why they were there, to show that they were people who were engaged in legitimate activities, who had been picked up, they had families, and the suffering that was being endured by not only the individuals as they were detained, but also their families, and to highlight the conditions. Because the inhumanity, the cruelty, evil is done in darkness when no one knows what is going on. And when the truth began to be revealed of what was happening in Guantanamo, the torture, the humiliating treatment, the fact that there was no access to lawyers, the fact that you never knew what the case was against you, the fact that you didn't have basic fundamental rights, when that became clear, as a result of the work that was being done by various organizations and also Cage, people understood that these weren't the most evil people since Hitler. These weren't monsters who were prepared to murder children at night and slit their throats or whatever, and the image that was being depicted. But they were individuals who had been in that part of the world, in Afghanistan and elsewhere, engaged in relief work. And other NGOs got involved, and the full horror became clear. It became clear that there were people who were picked up who were nowhere near Afghanistan, who were being basically kidnapped and taken. So, you know, as a result of the work carried out by Cage and others, the individuals who were detained, some of them have been released, and some of the residents of that notorious, horrific place are here. And we will hear from one of what is the latest position. But the story doesn't end there, because as a result of the full horrors becoming known, even Colin Powell said that Guantanamo should be shut. That former guards from there are saying that it should be shut. But the story continues, because we now know about renditions, about black sites, about extrajudicial executions, about the inhumanity that is being kind of targeted at the Muslim community in various parts of the world. And it is one of the functions of Cage, and you will learn a lot more as we go on today, to highlight the fact that we need a world which is based on fundamental rights, that a world where torture is not acceptable, and that no one can make any excuses for that, for humiliating or degrading treatment, that every person has a right to a fair trial, that you should know what the case is against you, you should be able to defend yourself. And these are not extremist or fundamentalist or evil positions. These are positions that ought to be shared by all decent, civilized individuals. And therefore, those are the kind of values that Cage stands for. I will now move on very quickly to our first speaker, who is Moazzam Beg, who will talk about the latest situation in Guantanamo and touch on other issues.